Hey guys, welcome to this video about hauling for ISK. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make several videos where I show you some ways to make money by just moving stuff around in EVE Online. Now this isn't really the highest level of ISK making, and if you're an established player that already has some good things going for you for making ISK, and maybe it's not the best way for you to go unless you want to just make a little bit of extra money on the side. But the reason I'm making this is because I think with the new alpha clones coming up in the next month, or actually like 2 weeks or less, they're going to need a way to make ISK, and they're really limited on a lot of the ways of making ISK. So there's not much that they can jump into the game and do day one or week one where they can start making decent ISK. And so I wanted to give some tips on ways that they could do that. And so this is part one. I'm going to show you one strategy here, and then I'm going to show you another one in my next video, hopefully tomorrow if I can get the footage. So what we're going to do is we're going to go here to Deal Finder. And Deal Finder on EVE Market Data is limited. You can't do it by the region. I don't even think you can do it by, well, you can't do it by the system. So to preface this, I was in my Mastodon, which is a Tech 2 hauler. I know new players aren't going to have Tech 2 haulers. It doesn't matter. The same strategy works. I talk about that in the upcoming sections of this video. But I was in LowSec, and I had a bunch of items in LowSec that I needed to move from, I think it was an Oka Geek, and I had to move those to Torinos. So what I did is I typed in the systems on the way. The first system on the way was a system called Villicin, and I just typed it in here and got it there. Alright, and what I found is I found that this, but you're not going to see it in the video because it doesn't, my OBS doesn't record my browser, unfortunately. But what I found was this, plus there was also a couple other items, and you'll see that in the video. There was a scythe for sale here for 5 million ISK, which is a great deal because the scythe sells for over 9 million ISK, I think. There's reactive armor hardeners that were for sale for 275,000, which I was able to sell for, I think, 500,000. I picked up a lot of tritanium. In retrospect, I should have gotten the heavy water. Really, when you're looking at hauling stuff, you want to go by the best profit per volume is really, there's a lot of profit to be had here in this heavy water, 166 million ISK of profit just by buying it, taking it to JITA, and selling it to the highest buy order. But it's 849,000 M3. Now that's you're talking freighter level of hauling, and this is LowSec. So before we go any further, let's say, what is this strategy? What's the strategy I'm talking about? Well, I had to go from Oka Geek to Torinos, LowSec to HighSec, in my hauler. And now I don't recommend new players go flying a hauler through LowSec. You will die. And if you don't know the proper way to survive, you will die. Especially now with Hicks being more and more common. Hicks are heavy interdictor cruisers. So no, don't do this in LowSec. This just happened to be what I was doing. And if you're going to do it in LowSec, do low volumes and do safe ships. So frigates with warp stabs, frigates, alpha clones can't do interceptors. Interceptors work great for someone who can do an interceptor. But frigates, destroyers, those are going to get past most gate camps except for the Instalock gate camps. But no matter what, you need to avoid LowSec at first if you're a new player. If you're an older player that feels comfortable going into LowSec, then you're going to find better deals in LowSec and NullSec. NullSec, where you have the rights to go to the stations. So basically, I just wanted to make some money as I flew from point A to point B, and then later I went to JITA, so point C. And so I just stopped and I checked every system along the way. The first one here was Villicin, and I got the scythe, I got the 4 reactive armor hardeners, and I got a tachyon, Tech 2 tachyon laser, and then I just filled up the rest with the tritanium because I knew For ISK was a good deal for tritanium. I'm selling that tritanium for 650 in JITA, and you'll see that in the rest of the video. And so basically this strategy is simple. Whenever you're in your hauler flying, or even in a PvP ship going through LowSec, just enter the system that you're going through. Like if you're going through, let's say you're in faction warfare, and you happen to be over in, what's it called, Huala? I never can spell that. Let's just do Cormonen, because I can spell that. You happen to be in Cormonen, right? This is a very popular faction warfare system. Now some of these prices are outdated. Some have no date at all, which is not good. Well, there's not even anything showing there. That's weird. Oh, because it's this. Okay. So they're all an hour ago. Just verify yourself, right? Always verify. And things that don't make sense, be cautious, because these numbers aren't always accurate. That's something to be important to know. So from here we can make 866,000 from 59 M3 volume. So if you just happen to be in a faction warfare frigate and you have 2.3 million ISK, you could take that 2.3 million ISK, buy all this stuff here, which it's nothing all that special, and then you can carry all of that to JITA and sell it to the buy orders. Not even sell orders. Sell orders will get a little bit more, but sell it to the buy orders and make an 866,000 profit. Let's throw in another one in there. How about Kadama? It's another popular faction warfare. There's nothing there that's profitable. Let's try Amalia. It's a system that I do faction warfare in a bit. And you see here, you're not going to be able to haul a Moros. So, that's just going to, I wouldn't, that's a bad thing. Don't even look at that, because you can't ever get it to JITA. So, spectacles, I don't know. I don't like messing with those items as far as selling stuff. The prices tend to be inaccurate. Yeah, none of those look good. So just out of trying to give you another example, let me see what's another system that's likely to have some good stuff. How about Oka Geek? Alright, so Oka Geek, which is a low sec on the edge of null sec, and you can see they have some decent things you can profit from. So you can buy these capital steel plates for capital ships and capital energy neutralizer for 100 million ISK each, and they sell in JITA for 125 and 135. That's a total volume for the steel plates. It says 5 M3. I question if that's actually accurate. I would verify that in game, but if it is, then I might be going there as soon as I finish this video to pick that up. What I'll do though, what I'm saying about always check, is right now I've got a guy in JITA, I've got a guy in Dixie, I might even have a guy in Amar still, I don't know. But I've got people there. So before I even took this, I would log into one of those characters and I would verify. Because before I'm going to throw down 100 million ISK on something, I'm going to go verify that there's actually people in JITA buying it for this much, or that it's selling for more, and more than just one order, right? If there's one buy order for 500 million ISK and somebody's saying they'll give it to you for 100 million, it's a scam. You can't always go off buy orders unless there is a multitude of buy orders. If there's just one buy order that you see, then it's a scam and someone's using the margin. It's going to be a failed order and they won't actually buy it. You won't be able to sell it. It's a way to scam people and trade. So verify that there's more than one buy order, and hopefully a lot of sell orders. Sell orders I imagine will be around 150. We can actually do this. And you can see in JITA they sell for 148. There's a lot of them for sale. They're probably pretty common. Steel plates for capitals, I would think so. I'm not a capital pilot for the most part. It's not my thing. So yeah, that's a good deal. 5 M3, fly there in Interceptor, pick it up, make yourself 35 million ISK, right? But you got to verify the data is 24 hours old. Could be not there anymore. This one, you need 4,000 M3, so you're going to need a cloaky hauler. Realistically, I didn't mean to do that. The antimatter charges, not the greatest. Prototype rapid light missile launcher, those I know are used, so I would go ahead and pick those up for sure. It's a small profit, and don't worry about that. So that's the most interesting one there. That one, if you have a cloaky hauler, you go and you can easily make a 64. You can make actually well over 64 million ISK. That's a total volume of 5,000 M3. Cloaky haulers can do that all day. If you don't have a cloaky hauler, then there are ways of doing it without a cloaky hauler. Just realize that you're going to be risking all that ISK. The other ways of doing it would be with the Scout, really, and picking a route where there's not going to be any camps. The good thing is most camps in low sec are going in, not going out. So even if there is a camp, it's likely going to be on the gate that you go to as you're jumping out, and you'll be able to get out. But just don't blame me if you die when you try to go get something like this. I'm making that point very clear and trying to emphasize it, because if you're new to EVE and you don't know how to survive and you don't know the dangers, go watch my survival video, EVE Survival, Escape, and Evasion. Go watch that so that you're a little bit safer about this. A Tech 1 hauler flying with all this stuff, you know, if you don't know what you're doing, you're pretty much guaranteed to die. If you know what you're doing, then I'd say you got a 60-70% chance. Cloaky hauler, you've got a 99% chance of getting in, getting all this stuff, and getting out. An interceptor or even a Tech 1 frigate, it's probably, you know, almost 100% chance of getting that one item out. So that's what I would call it. Let's move on to the other videos because I'm talking too much. So this is strategy 1. Just check the systems you're going through. It's not that hard to just Alt-Tab or click over or whatever you do and check the systems. Just type it in. Here's a system I used to hang out in a long time ago. We've got a Naglifer. That, again, it's a capital. I can't do anything with. Okay, let's try another one. Gonditza, my old home. And you see we've got some stuff here. 4,300 volume for 4 million. That's not very good. What's another one? Tama. Nothing. I wouldn't go to Tam anyway. It's too dangerous for most people. That station's a kick out. Yeah, so you get the point. How about Orville? I'm interested to see what's there. That's on the edge of Syndicate. So that's another good one. We've got some good stuff here. Composite armor plate. Whatever that is. It looks like it's used in manufacturing. I wouldn't mess with the Marines. There's no use for them as far as I know. Ventures would probably be a good way to go. Buy those 10 Ventures. Carry them to Jita. You could probably sell them for close to 300K. So that's about $1 million ISK you'd make off those. Same with these 7 here. So 1.7 million ISK you'd make just by picking all those up. But it's a lot of volume. And remember that if you find something with a ton of volume, let's say you find 700,000 M3 of titanium for 4 ISK each, and you know that it sells for 6.5 ISK in Jita. If it's high sec, you can always use Push Industries or Red Frog Freight to haul all that stuff for you in a freighter to Jita where you can sell it. So there's always a way to do it. It's whether the cost justifies it. If you're only going to make 15 million ISK and it costs you 15 million ISK to ship it, then it's not worth your time. But if you're going to make 50 million and it costs 15 million, maybe it is worth your time. So that's strategy 1. Just look for opportunities as you move system to system. Type in here the systems you're going through, especially if you're coming from low sec going to high sec. That's strategy number 1, and we'll cover strategy number 2 tomorrow, hopefully. So I'm just going to show you the next few videos. I'll show you as I'm buying it and as I'm selling it. All right, so I found a list of stuff on that website that told me what the deals were in this system. So I'm just going to check every system on my way because I'm having to move my Mastodon from Oka Geek to Torinos. So I'm starting here at Villison, and I should have checked Oka Geek, but I'd already started moving before I looked. Anyway, so here we've got some things. The Mastodon's got a pretty big hold. I'm moving a bunch of stuff already, but I still got plenty of space left. Plus I've got that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to get the scythe. Make sure it's still here for the price that was listed on the website. So 5 million ISK, I'm going to go ahead and buy that because I should be able to sell it for at least 8 million ISK in Jita. Alright, let me look what the other one was. Tachyon beam laser, okay. Now, just verify the price is what it says on the website. 3 million ISK and Jita buy is 4.2. So let's go ahead and buy that. I'm saying it's above 3 million ISK, and saying it's a lot above the, it's way above the regional average. That's because the regional average is being set by this. There's 1,000 quantity at 100,000, so that's altering the regional average. 3 million ISK I know I can sell in Jita, but whenever you see that huge margin there, you always need to double check or even triple check to make sure you're not buying something for more than you really should be. Okay, so throw that in there. What's next? Reactive armor hardener, 275,000. All right, 275,000. Yep, so there's 4 of those. We'll grab those. I can sell those for, this is to the buy order now. I'll put them up for sell orders and get even more, but for the buy order, it's 356,000. But I'll put them up for the sell order to get a little bit more ISK. Now, the other things that it says are good deals here are tritanium and heavy water. Now, heavy water takes up a lot of volume, and I'm not so sure of how fast it's going to move. So what I think I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go with the tritanium. There's tritanium for sale here for 4 ISK each, and there's Jita buy order for tritanium is 5.94, which is a lot higher than it used to be when I used to mess with tritanium. Alright, so tritanium, and since it's 0.1, we're going to have to do some math here. 0.01, okay. So I've got, how much space do I have left? Let's call that 34,000 plus 4,000. So not being exact, we're going to say 38,000 divided by 0.01 is 3.8 million. Alright, so we're going to buy 3.8 million of this. It's going to cost me 15 million ISK, and I should be able to sell it for, at least to the buy order, I should be able to sell it for about 6 ISK. So it's almost a 50% profit just to the buy order, but I'll sell it for more than that and get a little bit more. So let's go ahead and grab that, and we'll spread it between the 2 holds here. Alright. So I filled my ship up from that. Now, technically, you could look for higher margin items, and you could not fill up with something like tritanium and just get these smaller items and do it every system. Along the way, if I see something that looks really good, I might stop and unload the tritanium and come back for it later. But for now, I think this is pretty good. I'll stop the video here and start it back up when I get to Jita. Alright guys, so I was flying. I was in my last system of low sec before high sec, and I saw that Kanaka had Logistics Cruiser's skill book, which is very small, so I can certainly fit it without having to unload anything. It's only 0.01, and they've got that for 20 million ISK. Now there's a buy order in Jita for 25 million ISK, so I'm going to go ahead and buy this and carry that with me. So that's another 5 million ISK right there without having to unload any of the other stuff that I have. So I'll pick this up at my next stop. Alright, we made it to Jita, and we're going to go ahead and sell the stuff that we bought along the way. So first of all, let's look at this tritanium here. Turns out that was a pretty good deal. I bought it for 4 ISK. We can see that here. Almost want to go back and buy the rest of it. But yeah, I bought it for 4 ISK. You can see the highest buy order here is 6.01 ISK. And the lowest sell order here is 6.5 ISK. And just to look at the price stability to make sure I'm not going to risk losing any ISK here, you can see it stayed at 5, roughly, or 6. Yeah, so 6. It stayed at 6 for a while now from 5, but it's going up slightly. And actually, if I go look at this, let's bring this into a, can I go to a shorter history? No, they changed this. Okay. All right, so I think I'm going to go ahead and just do a sell order. Try to get as much as I can. So I'm going to sell that. Remember buying it for 15 million. Let's sell it for 6.5. So I bought it for 15 million. We're going to sell it for 24 million, which will net 23.7 million. It's pretty good. I might have to revise that lower a few times, or it could get bought up really quick. Well, okay, look at that. It got underbid before I even listed the order. So I'll come back to that in 5 minutes when I can change this order, and I will drop it down to like 4.7 or something. Now let's look at that logistics skill book. I picked up a few jumps in, and you can see here that I can sell it with a sell order for 29 or a buy order for 25. So skill books are something that it's a good thing where if somebody accidentally buys two, you can't inject two skills. They'll just put it on the market wherever they brought it to. If they bought one that they didn't need, or they bought one for someone else and that person didn't need it, or something like that. So it's a good thing to do is to look for skill books that are abandoned out in low sec, and you can go get them with the Covops or Cloaky Hauler or whatever you want to use. Even you could even just use an interceptor, unlockable or mostly unlockable interceptor, to just fly out there really quick and grab stuff like this. Just look up skill books, and it's usually the Tech 2 skill books, or the Tech 2 ship skill books, or the Tech 2 gun skill books that you'll see these deals with. So logistics cruisers, heavy assault cruisers, heavy interdictor cruisers, or whatever it's called. Then a lot of times like the medium blaster specialization, medium railgun specialization, and on, arty, pulse laser, etc. So that's where you'll see those most of the time. I'm going to go ahead and do this to a sell order. I could get my quick 5 million out of it, but I would rather try to get a little bit more. And I can check on this, later tonight, and hopefully it'll sell. But if not, I'll just lower my order some more. A lot of times people who are just getting their first logistics, or they're starting to train logistics, they'll go ahead and they'll buy the skill book here in JITA rather than go to a school system where they can buy it for the standard price. The standard price seems to be 28 mil, so they'll pay the extra 2 million ISK here rather than fly 2 jumps to get it for 28 mil. So that's another way you can make ISK, is you can just go to these school systems where they sell the skill books. It's usually NPCs that sell the school books, or sell the skill books. And you can go to those systems, pick up a lot of these things that aren't sold in JITA, Dixie, Ren, Zamar, and just haul them into those systems and sell them. It's a good little racket. All right, so now let's look at this one. So that's an 8 mil profit there. So we had what we'd get before. It was like 9 mil, and that was 8 mil. All right, let's have a look at this one. How much do we buy this one for? 3 mil? Yeah, so we bought that for 3 mil. We can sell it for 5. So that takes us up to, what, 16 million now? Not bad. All right, now remember we spent like 274 on these, I think. So let's look at that. Yeah, so 275 is what I spent on these 4. Something just sold. And I could sell them for 488. All right. So that's maybe another million. So about 17 million ISK I made from one run. Not amazing, but it's pretty much free ISK, and I already had a half full hold. So had I focused in on more of the smaller items, oh yeah, we forgot about the Sith. All right, we got this for 5 million, remember? So got that for 5 million. I could sell it for 8. Let's go ahead and sell that for 9,495. So that's about a 4 million ISK profit. So now we're up to about 20 million ISK that I made from I was already making that trip anyway. I had to move some stuff. So I might as well, on the way, fill up my cargo hold and fully utilize my ship to get the maximum amount. Now I know that not everybody's going to have a Mastodon, and that's fine. You can get the Tech 1 version of this, which, Mammoth, is that what it is? Yeah, the Mammoth. And the Mammoth can hold, I think, 28,000 or 29,000. It can hold a lot of stuff. So let's see. This is without the expanded cargoes, but if I can find it. It's probably the top. Okay, so it's 5,500, but then you've got the 5 low slots for expanded cargo holds. I know it holds a lot. I just don't remember how much. But there's Tech 1 haulers can do pretty good on their own. What I noticed when I was doing this was that the best deals are in low sec, and for good reason. There's a little bit more risk in going out to low sec to pick stuff up. I could take my Prowler, which is pretty much unkillable in low sec, almost, and that's got about 10K cargo hold. I could get that, and I could go out there and pick up a lot of that kind of stuff. Or you could use it to make multiple runs to high sec and drop it in the first high sec system, and then pick it up with a bigger ship like this. Or if you're serious about this and you got a freighter, then you can take this to a whole other level. But that is just the opportunistic hauling method. That's number 1. I'm going to do 1 or 2 more videos about this hauling for ISK. And that's just a really easy way. If you're already moving system to system, you could even do this in a combat ship. If you're coming back from null sec or from low sec, you can just look at all the low sec systems on your way out, and you might find a skill book like I found that made me some good ISK. It's not going to be able to see it in here. I got a ton of stuff on the market right now. But anyway, be under L, so logistics. So that made me 9 million ISK roughly. Something that takes up almost no cargo hold, that was just sitting there, and it's an easy little bit of ISK to make while you're out. That just takes the few seconds for you to go to that website, type in the system you're passing through, and that's it. So hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to do at least 1 more of these videos. I've got 1 more way I do this, and then there's another way I've been thinking about doing this, so I might do that one too. So look forward to those.